Hello traders, welcome to another trading interview, this time with one of our serious FTMO traders, Pepijn from MS in Netherlands. Welcome Pepijn.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, let's get started.
Well, so great to having you on, Pepijn, and thank you for your time. Guys, for those who are listening us for the first time, FTMO is a proprietary trading company that actively searches for trading talents because we have developed a unique two-step evaluation process that consists of FTMO challenge and verification phase. And once you pass this two-step evaluation process, you will be offered a unique placement in our proprietary trading company. And that is why we have Pepijn here. Because Pepijn is really serious trader. He has right now $200,000 account, and the previous month he made $76,000. Wow, again, great result. So before we are going to talk about his strategy, let's ask him who you are, Pepijn.
Well, once again, thanks for having me. My name is Pepijn Jonker. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm just 19 years old. I've been trading for 3.5 to 4 years now. And my first experience on the financial markets was back in late 2017 with the crypto bull run. As most retail investors, I lost like all my money, but it did teach me a lot of valuable lessons. And shortly afterwards, a good friend of mine introduced me to Forex, to the foreign exchange market. I've been trading Forex ever since, actually.
Okay, so you started to trade since you were 15?
Yeah, crypto. And when I was 16, I started with Forex.
Okay, do you remember your first trade?
With crypto, yes, but not with Forex anymore.
Correct. So how did you find out this Forex trading? How did you find about it?
Well, actually, I was pretty into crypto because of the bull run, and then a really good friend of mine, which is also trading for FTMO, he introduced me to foreign exchange, and we worked together. Back then, we both had the same side job. It was really fun. Back then, I thought, yeah, crypto is kind of the market. I didn't know about Forex, and then he slowly introduced me. He taught me a couple of things. So actually, because of a good friend of mine.
So, and now if you compare crypto trading and Forex trading, where is the biggest difference?
I think Forex is more developed because it's such a big market. And obviously, cycles play a way bigger role in the crypto market than in the Forex market. Like, though you don't really have a bull run in Forex. And I definitely prefer Forex over crypto.
And since when you are trading full time?
I think since half a year ago. Yeah, since half a year.
So half a year full-time trader. And before that?
Obviously, when I was 16, I did take Forex pretty seriously, but I was still studying and I didn't have that much time for Forex trading. So it was pretty on and off. Sometimes I was a bit more busy with Forex trading. Sometimes I didn't trade for a week. But I think what was pretty important is that I checked the charts almost every day. Also, when I didn't trade, I think that also plays a big factor. And now, since a year, I think I started to take Forex really seriously. And since half a year, I'm pretty profitable. And I'm trading FTMO now for like 3-4 months.
And how many accounts you have?
For FTMO?
Well, all of them. If you have another one somewhere else.
I have one live account for myself, a well spread account, and I have one FTMO account.
Okay, cool. And what do you do when you are not trading?
I'm pretty busy with self-development, so I read a lot of books. I follow some online courses. I might watch some educational videos on YouTube or another platform. But of course, I also like to go out with friends, family, and soon I will start studying again. So.
And if you compare when you were not FTMO trader and now, what is the biggest difference?
Now I take it way more serious, so I journal every single trade. I make a weekly analysis, a monthly analysis, and just really look at my results. And I think that's a super big difference, because when I was 16, 17, I didn't journal anything. Then you just don't have any data, so you don't know where you can improve and what your weak and strong points are. And now I do.
Cool. And now what about some backtesting?
I didn't backtest like a strategy with like 1,000 or 2,000 trades because there's always quite a big difference between live and backtesting. I feel like you cannot include everything in a backtest because when you're live testing, emotion obviously plays a big role. But with the strategy I have now, I obviously backtested it a little bit, but I mainly live tested it because I think that just gives you the best results.
Well, when you are backtesting, you need to be just honest with yourself, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Also, a pretty big factor is I also trade on smaller time frames, and TradingView doesn't allow you to go that far back in time. So I should have a different software to backtest on, but I didn't do that yet.
Okay. So you are not looking for some bigger time frames to see some, bigger moves in months. You are just looking at some intraday trading, day trading.
Yeah, mainly I do determine kind of my bias on the bigger time frames, but I execute on smaller time frames such as the 1, 3, 5, 15, and 30-minute time frame.
Cool. Okay, I cannot wait to see your strategy. Can you show me?
Yeah, sure. Okay, guys. So let's look at a trade I took on this account. This is a Euro JPY short. So I always like to start off on the bigger time frame. So let's start off on the daily. We can see we made a pretty massive run up. But we can also see that the last few days we've been going down. We made a low here, lower high, lower low, and potentially a new lower high again. So then I always like to zoom in. Let's go to the 4-hour. And then you see we broke this low, made a new lower high, lower low, and it looks like a new lower high here. If we take the Fibonacci, just adjust it a bit, we can see. I always like to keep my charts as clean as possible, so now I only keep on the 0.88 since that's the only kind of thing that matters. As you see, we hit the 0.88 fib. This is the last fib level I have on my Fibonacci. Then we can go to the 1-hour. And here we can see, this is super important for my strategy, we have a really clean move here. That basically means that there are not a lot of orders here. If we take horizontal ray and put it on here, we can see we broke this low right here at 3 o'clock. So we took all of the orders out of this kind of messy price action. And now as soon as we break this low, we have clean traffic all the way down to, let's say, 132.9, right? So I would just wait for price to break this low. And I mainly work with buy and sell stops. So I just wait for a low break. So let's just continue. Yeah, so here we have it. Let's zoom in. So it's now I'm focused on this low break. You can see we break this low right here. But if you look at the time, it's at 9 o'clock. This is London Open. And what I noticed is that during London Open at 9 o'clock exactly, the market kind of wants to trick you in, and it has quite a lot of tricks. So I never trade at 9 o'clock exactly. I always wait at least 15 minutes. And that was pretty good because it broke the low, so I would have been triggered in, and then directly shoots to the upside, and I would have I would have needed a super big stop loss above this candle or even the previous one. Then it will be pretty hard to catch a high risk to reward with a lot of pips as stop loss, right? And also with my strategy, I use pretty small stop losses, as you can see here. So my first position was right here as soon as we broke this low, right? And I like to zoom into the 5 minutes. Another key element to my strategy are scale-ins. So I like to take different positions for the same pair because then you can kind of compound your profit. So right there, I took a short position with my stops around here, 6 pips, pretty small, and I had my target right here at the end of the clean move, like 32,900. Let's adjust this a bit. And now, as you can see already, made a new lower low, new lower high right here. And if we break this area right here, this one, we will make again a new lower low. So I want to take a scale in. So my next position is right here when we break this low.
Cool.
And then I again put my stop loss above the previous candle. And now you can see I have a super small stop loss, 4.3 pips. If again the same target, 900. And as soon as I take a scale in, I put the previous trade, like this one, into profit. I put my stop loss at break even or a little bit into profits. So that's also what I did. So let's see what happens. Price drops a bit. And I'm already, like, because I have such small stop losses, my first position is already in a 1.3.25. And my second position is also almost in a 1 to 3. And I take both 1% risk on both positions. So I'm up like 6% already. But it didn't meet my target. It didn't finish the clean move. So let's see what happens next. And now both positions are on break even and even a little bit into profit, by the way. And if I remember correctly, I put the stop loss of the first position at the same price level as the second position.
Yep. So now you have much bigger profit there.
Yeah. So if price reverses and it takes me out, I still have profit of the first position, right? So let's see what happens. Price takes me out for a little bit of profit and one break-even position. And currently, it's around 3 o'clock. That means that there's a new 4-hour candle forming. You can see price directly shoots up. So that this tells me, this is also another key element of my strategy, that this is just upper wick creation. Now I think that the 4-hour just makes an upper wick before dropping lower, because we're in a downtrend. We make new lower lows, new lower highs. So I'm still interested in shorts. So as soon as this happens, I will determine kind of liquidity points. So I will go back to the left, and I see here, this is a nice liquidity point. This is the first candle of the move down. The same here, first candle of the move down is a nice liquidity point. So this is the first area I'm willing to look for shorts, and this is the last area. If it breaks above here, I won't be looking for shorts anymore. So let's see if price comes to the first zone. Almost taps the zone. It taps it here. And here we can already see price moved up pretty aggressively. So now I'm willing to take shorts again at a low break. Because as soon as we break, let me zoom in a bit. As soon as we break this low, we have a pretty clean move down, right? And since my stop loss is only 4.5 pips, if we mirror this clean move, I will already be on like a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So that's super nice. So I placed a sell stop right here with my stop loss above here, and again the same target at 132.9. Here I'm triggered in. Let's see what happens. As you can see, these are all 5-minute candles. So after 2 candles, I'm already in a 1 to 2 risk to reward in just like 10 minutes. So that's also why I like the strategy so much. You can get pretty high risk to rewards in a fairly short period of time. So let's see what happens. Indeed, the 4-hour pulls back. This is just like, now it's printing a 4-hour upper wick. We can go to a bigger time frame. I took the position right here. We can see there's also a 30-minute liquidity zone. Sniped, pretty good entry if you ask me. And there we have it, a super big move down. Big profit is hit. So yeah, a really good trade. And I catch the 1 to 9 in just a couple of hours.
Wow. Well, first of all, what a nice preparation for this.
Yeah, thank you.
Really good job. I have so many questions. I don't know where to start, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you can ask anything you want.
So maybe first of all, let's ask about the break even. Why do you move them?
Because especially with scale-ins, let's say you have 2 scale-ins, so that means you have 3 positions, your original position and 2 scale-ins. If you don't move your stop loss, they all hit stop loss at the original level, you have minus 3%, because I always take a percentage risk. And that's quite heavy. I don't want that. And especially with scale-ins, if I take a scale-in, my first position is already in profit. So why not secure some profits? So yeah, that's basically the main reason. Because let's say if I take 3 scale-ins and I have 4 open positions and I always stop loss for minus 4%, that would be a shame. And if price even made a lower low when shorting, it doesn't not make sense to move your stop loss into profit.
Yep. And what about the Fibonacci tool? How important it is in the higher time frame for you?
In the higher time frames, not necessarily super important. I only short or buy above the zero point 0.5 because everything above the zero point 0.5 when shorting I see as expensive. And obviously, when you sell, you want to sell as high as possible. So I prefer to short from 0.786 and 0.88, but I mainly use Fibonacci in combination with liquidity zones.
And it is also overall just technical analysis. You don't care about some fundamentals.
I'm actually in a trading group, and the owner of the trading group does every week the fundamental analysis for us.
Okay.
So that's, but especially with trades like these where you're in just for a couple of hours, I don't think fundamentals make such a big difference. Of course, it's always nice to trade with fundamentals in your advantage, but I think it's more important when swinging and when holding positions for several days or weeks. But if you pay some attention to them, yes.
Okay. And what about some candlestick patterns?
Yeah, I do pay attention to them, but it isn't that I don't have set rules for it. Like obviously a bearish engulfing tells me there's selling pressure. And for example, a 4-hour wick, let's see, because indeed, if we remove all the mess, you can see this is the 4-hour that we took the trade on. We took the trade right around here. And obviously, when a 4-hour candle gets pushed down like this, we know that there's selling pressure. But for example, here there's a bullish engulfing, but then there's a bearish engulfing. I don't pay that much attention to it, only like on key areas. So for example, in combination with zones and with Fibonacci. But I think if you go to, like, you can spot candlesticks or patterns everywhere, you know. So if you look for them, I think they can tell you something, but they have to be in key areas in a chart. Otherwise, they don't tell much, in my opinion.
And how do you calculate position size?
I have a pip calculator for it. I just use the website, and yeah, it's pretty easy. I just type in the currency pair, the amount of pips, and the amount I want to risk, and then it calculates the lot size for me automatically.
And do you solely focus on Euro Japanese yen?
No, I have different pairs. If you want, I trade like 12 pairs, I believe. I trade all the major currency pairs. I don't trade super exotic pairs. These are just two examples that I would like to show in this interview. I also trade pound, euro, dollar, all the major pairs.
And how do you choose which one?
I look at my performance, obviously. Yeah, I mainly look at the performance, and then I just pick the ones that I like the most, that I like the price action the most, and that I'm the most profitable with, obviously.
And where do you have your best performance right now?
With gold, definitely.
With gold.
Yeah.
Okay, so show me some analysis in the gold, please.
So this is the other trade I took on this account. This was also a pretty big winner. I have to say, when I took this trade, I was already up like 10 to 20% on my FTMO account. So for these two trades, I risked both 2% instead of 1%, because I think when you're up already 10 to 20%, you can afford to risk a bit more in order to also get more profits, obviously. So let's see. This was a gold short. And again, I always look, let's start off on the daily. The daily is definitely bearish. A lot of selling pressure, just speaks for itself. I think we broke all the previous lows, so pretty self-explanatory. In the 4-hour, we do see again a super clean move here. If we zoom in on the 1 hour, let's see. Yeah, here it is. This is the one candle that we kind of want to mirror, and it moves all the way from 18 or like 95 to like 1812. It's like 170 pips in just an hour. So this tells me that there are barely any orders in here, so this can pretty easily be replicated. So that's why I wanted to look for a short right there. And with such a clean move, you can also be a bit more aggressive with your entries. So let's see what I've done. Let's zoom into the 5 minutes. And with gold, I tend to refine my liquidity zones even into the 1 minute, because I've noticed that gold really listens well to like the 1 minute liquidity zones, and then you can also get the best entry possible. So let's see what price does. Here we continuously make lower lows, lower highs. So then you just want to be shorting as high as possible. Let's see. Let's go even to the 1 minute chart. So here I determined again two zones, the same as Euro JPY. I want to look what price does here. And if price comes all the way here, I also still want to look for shorts. So let's just see when price comes here. Yeah, so price comes right here into the 1 minute liquidity zone. But I always wait for low breaks, as I said before, because obviously I could also place a sell limit right here if I stop above the zone, but that's way riskier in my opinion. I think you can get a higher win rate, so more success when waiting for a low to be broken. Maybe this is not the best way to get the highest risk to reward, but for me it definitely works better than just placing a buy or sell limit at a certain zone. So let's skip this a bit. I think I determined my position on my entry in the 3 minute. So here we can see, okay, if we break this low, in my opinion, we could fall lower. I could also wait for this low to be broken, obviously. That would be safer. But having in mind that the clean move is super, super clean, I can be a bit more aggressive with my entry. So I entered right as this low was broken. That's right here. You can see price comes back up a little bit, but then gets taken out. This low gets taken out as well, I believe. Yeah. And then we drop pretty rapidly because the move is so clean. We can mirror it pretty easily. This is 1 to 5 risk to reward, so it would be nice if we can hit it, especially with 2% risk, obviously. So let's see what price does. And here, as you can see, it just missed my take profit, and then I believe it goes up again. So from I hit a 1 to 5 almost, and then price came all the way back, and I was only into like a 1 to 3. So I saw quite a bit of profit being vanished. And I was a little bit salty, to be honest. I thought, shit, because this is just like 30 cents away from my take profit. But as I mentioned before, I really like to take scalings. And here I determined again a different zone. This is like a 5-minute zone here. So I wanted to look for a reaction here. But as I said before, gold really listens well to 1-minute zones. So let's skip some price action. And here we can see we made a new 1-minute zone. I actually should have taken an entry right here at this low break, also on the 3 minutes. Yeah, so I could have taken a sell stop right here, but I wasn't paying that much attention to the charts, I think, or I just missed it. But I obviously still wanted to enter another position. So I knew, okay, as soon as we come back to this 1-minute liquidity zone, let's remove this one for now, and it rejects it, I want to take an entry. It doesn't necessarily have to be a low break because I already missed the main low break here. But I want to take another position, just like a quick scalp entry to finish the month off in a good way, basically. So let's see. We did go get to the zone, and we did reject it. So I believe I entered somewhere around here, not at the low break, because again, if I would enter right here, I would barely get even a 1-to-1 if I'm going to trade it to a 17.94, 95. So just entered right here, and we can see go to like the 15 minutes. We smashed it. I got like a 1 to 1.5 and like a 1 to 1 and a 1 to 5. So pretty good, especially with 2% risk. So yeah, these were 2 trades. This was a really big winner because if you do this times 2, this was like a 10.4% winner. This was like a 3% winner. And on a 200K account, that obviously adds up. Yep. So this was, I think, my biggest winner of the month in total.
Wow. And did you move also the break even again when you opened the second position?
Yeah, I did. So especially with having 2% risk, you have to be a bit careful, obviously. And when I entered the second position, my first position was already into 1.3.5 risk to reward. So even if I would have been taken out on this one, and my stop loss would have been hit on this position as well, I still would have made like a 1 to 3, so 6%.
And how do you calculate the risk? Why 2%?
Yeah, good question. as I said before, I was already up like 10 to 20% when taking this trade, and then I can afford it to lose, I think, 2% per position. If you're up like 10 to like I think I was up 18% or something, then it does like risk losing 2% isn't that big of a deal anymore. Obviously, it's still a lot of money,
So you are
but
risking more if you
yeah,
have enough initial balance.
yeah, I always try to build kind of a buffer,
Hmm.
and then I would like to risk like 1.5% or even 2%. Yeah.
So normally you risk how much?
Normally, in the beginning, I always risk 1%.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, when I received this account, the first month, I only risked 0.25 to half a percent just to be really careful.
You were
And
scared.
sorry?
You were a little bit scared, right?
Yeah, I just wanted, because I already screwed up an FTMO account before when I was 18, and I
Hmm.
didn't want to happen like I didn't want that to happen again. And to be honest, my main goal was just to get the challenge feedback.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to end the month in profit,
Hmm.
and that's why and I thought, okay, I'm playing the long-term game. I don't want to make an insane amount of profit the first month. I want to have this account for the long term. So better be careful, better be safe than sorry, right? So that's why I just took half a percent risk maximum.
And do you leave some profit to another month?
No, I withdrew everything.
You withdraw everything. All right, and how about some losing trade? You have some there.
I didn't prepare one, but yeah, I did lose
Do you
quite some.
remember some?
Yeah, it's a pretty funny story actually. I remember that one day when I was still risking half a percent, um, I made 10K on a day, so 5%. That was a super big milestone for me. It still is a super big milestone.
Mhm.
But I think subconsciously I was still a bit overconfident. And obviously, as a trader, okay, if I make a lot of profit, like it shouldn't influence my trading, right? But still, subconsciously, I think it still somehow affected me. And then, so I made 10K one day, and then the next day I lost 7,500 trading gold. So the trades weren't even like they were okay trades, but it wasn't my day and I risked a bit too much. And I think that also shows the psychology in trading. Like what I do now when I have a big winning day, I tend to not trade the next day just to be sure and to kind of empty my head again and just to make sure I won't waste the profit the next day.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for this preparation. And can you show me some results in client area?
Yeah, sure.
All right, what a nice chart. And I can probably see that in the end, you've been probably doubling the positions, or you've been opening another position so that you can scale up the whole trade. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. As you can see, it went up pretty massively from here onwards. Yeah,
And that was the best trade that you showed me somewhere there.
I think that was uh, from 50K to 76K. So actually, I was already up 25%. I think this is the goal trade.
Cool.
This extension.
Really nice to see. And how do you analyze this whole period?
Well, to be honest, I don't use the client area that much. I
Mm-hmm.
do use it. I think it's super useful to determine on which pairs you're the most profitable and during which times.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also journaling in my own Excel sheets, and I also use Notion to journal. So I already have a good overview for myself. But I do think this, in general, offers the traders a good overview of the trading skills, like their strong and weak points. They're they're pairs that they're super profitable at, and at times.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I don't use it that much myself.
Cool. So show me your statistics about the risk reward rate.
Right here.
Nice, nice. 61.8 and the average risk reward ratio 1.82.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. This just
Yeah,
has to work.
yeah,
Do you have your own risk reward? Do you calculate by yourself, or you are using this inclined area?
yeah. I kind of what I just showed in the two trade examples. They both have higher risk to rewards, but I also sometimes use scalping in order to make some profit, and then I mainly aim for like a 1 to 1, 1 to 1.5, as I showed in the second gold position, the scaling, but also at a 1 to 1.5. So I think that's why the risk to reward is a bit lower than in the examples. But then it compensates with the win rate, obviously, because when you aim for a lower risk to reward, the win rate obviously is a bit higher.
Mm-hmm. And show me what instruments have you traded, instead of the gold and Euro JPY.
These are, yeah, it's right here.
Cool. So GBP JPY, USD JPY. They were
Mm-hmm.
also profitable. And what happened with the Euro CAD and USD CAD?
Yeah, it's quite funny. Both CAD Canadian dollar pairs. I don't know why they're like. I just took, I think, a couple losses on them. But as I showed in the examples as well, like I mainly scalp on Euro JPY, GBP JPY, and gold.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't scalp on Euro CAD and USD CAD. So when I trade the other instruments, they tend to have a pretty high risk to reward. And probably the trade that I took here, like obviously it ended up being a loss. But once I take another trade with, let's say, a 1 to 7 risk to reward on EuroCAD, and I win one time, I obviously make back the loss like 3, 4, 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's a correlation between Canadian dollar that I should maybe stop trading Canadian dollar, but in other months they have been profitable. So yeah, let's see.
And if I remember well, you said that you are aware around 9 o'clock because that's when the London open.
Yeah, I do wait 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Because when London opens, I noticed that the market kind of wants to trigger you in and then hit your stop loss pretty rapidly. Like at 9 o'clock, there's a lot of volume kicking in, so you see a lot of fake outs. And I just don't want to be trapped in, for example, a fake out, obviously. So I always wait like 15 minutes at least, and sometimes 30 minutes if price action is still a bit messy. And then I will start looking for entries, just so I won't get triggered in at the wrong side of the market, because that's obviously what we want.
And at what time are you most profitable? It's up, that's the volume?
Yeah, at 12
Okay,
o'clock.
12 o'clock. Why do you think is that?
I think that's because I always await the 4-hour closes. The 4-hour candle closes at 11. And as I explained in the examples, the 4-hour wick creation is also plays a big part. I always want to short as high as possible and sell and buy as low as possible, obviously. And the 4-hour wick creation gives a super good opportunity for that. And I think around 12 o'clock, most 4 hours made a wick creation, and then I think I enter, and then they flip bearish if I'm shorting and bullish if I'm buying. But as you can see, I've only been selling this month.
Okay, thank you so much for this trading overview. Really like it. And let's go for the next part of our interview. Okay, so do you have someone who inspires you in the trading community?
I do have one person. As I said, I think I mentioned it before in this interview, I'm currently in one trading group. And the kind of owner of the trading group, he provides fundamental analysis. He's a really good trader himself. There's some other people in the trading community that are also trading for FTMO. So I do kind of look up to him. His name is Will Damo. Maybe some of the Dutch viewers know him. And yeah, I kind of look up to him. Ever since I joined this community, I've been going upwards. So I really appreciate that. Always help, and yeah.
Cool. And what are your plans to the future?
I'm currently in a verification phase for another 200K account for FTMO. So I want to maximize I want to gain the maximum amount that you're allowed to pledge for FTMO. I want to get it as soon as possible, obviously. And for the rest, I want to use my FTMO profits to trade live on my own account, because I don't know how it is for other countries, but unless you do pay a lot of tax on the profit you make on FTMO, but you barely pay any tax for your if you trade with your own capital. So obviously, I want to trade with my own capital as well next to FTMO, and just make use of the FTMO scaling plan. I think that's a really cool future.
And what would you say to others about FTMO?
I recommend it to everyone. Most people, they don't even believe it. They think it's a scam or something because you get 70%. I myself was also really surprised. I thought 70% for me and not for FTMO. I thought maybe it's the other way around. And yeah, I always recommend it. They have super low spreads, like low commissions, everything. Like it's crazy. I really like it.
Wow, thank you so much for those words. And do you have some guidance to our traders?
Well, I think you should just, like what I did before I started to trade for FTMO was just search a good working strategy, trade with it for myself for like 2 months at least, be profitable. Because I know that a lot of people say you have to backtest your strategy with like 1,000 trades or like trade half a year and then only go to FTMO or go for the next step. But in my opinion, if you can pass a free trial from FTMO like twice, why wouldn't you be able to pass it for the third time? So my advice is just search your own good working strategy, and as long as that's profitable, just go and join FTMO and try to pass their challenge and their verification.
Great, great. Thank you so much. And Pepijn, well, once again, great interview. Thank you so much for sharing your strategy with us and other highlights, especially your thorough analysis and your thorough preparation. That was really awesome. Thank you so much. And I have one special advice for you. The traders try to beat the market, but they often forget that they are the market. Do you have any last words?
That was a nice quote, by the way. But yeah, for other traders, like I'm not special. If I can do it, then you can do it for sure. So yeah, just don't quit and continue.
And that's FTMO.